Alright, this is my chemistry project over Albert Einstein and Max Planck. Albert Einstein, basic facts and introduction. Albert Einstein is a famous German physicist and mathematician. He was born in Ulm, Germany on March 14th, 1879. Albert Einstein is most known for developing the special and general theories of relativity among various other things, one of the most influential physicists of the 20th century. Albert Einstein had a very high IQ of 160. Alright, on to the next page. Albert Einstein's early life and family. Albert Einstein grew up in a secular Jewish family. His father was Hermann Einstein, which was a salesman and engineer. His mother's name was Pauline Einstein. His brother, whose name was Jacob, and his father had founded a company together with his brother, which has a very complicated name in German. I'm not exactly sure how to say it, but I have it in my PowerPoint presentation if you look at it. J. Einstein and Psi, which was a company that manufactured electrical equipment. Albert's mother was for the most part, in charge of running the household and upkeep of the household. Albert Einstein also had one sister named Manja. And that's just kind of a basic introduction on his early life and family, and there's a continued on that in the next page. This is more towards, this page is on education. Albert Einstein attended elementary school at Luitpold Gymnasium in Munich. He felt awkward there and struggled with the school's rigid and sophisticated style. He also had speech challenges. He did develop a passion for classical music and playing the violin that would stay with him in the later years. Most significantly, Einstein's youth was marked by deep inquiry. And what that means is he just was starting to become a little more interested in subjects of what he liked in school, which that could be chemistry, physics, most of those types of things. Towards the end of the 1880s, Max Talmud, who was a Polish student who sometimes died with Einstein, became a tutor to Albert. Talmud introduced Albert to a children's science text that had inspired Einstein to dream about the nature of light. During his teen years, Einstein made what would be seen as his first major paper, the investigation of the state aether in magnetic fields. Next page. Continued on education. This is going to be education that has more relatively towards his college and when he was starting to get bigger into what he was doing. Albert was left at a boarding house in Munich to complete his education at the Luitpold Gymnasium. Having to deal with military duty when he turned old enough, Albert withdrew from classes using a doctor's note as an excuse and claimed nervous exhaustion. Albert Einstein was able to gain admission into the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich. Because of his superb mathematics and physics scores on the entrance exam, he was still required to complete his pre-university education first and attended a high school in Erfurt, Switzerland, directed by Jacques Winter. After graduating, he faced many challenges to find academic positions. Some professors had ridiculed him over not attending class more regularly and instead of studying by himself. Einstein found steady work in 1902 after receiving a referral for a clerk position in a Swiss patent office. Albert Einstein's inventions, discoveries, things he was mostly known for, back then to this time. As a physicist, Einstein had many discoveries, but he's best known for the theory of relativity and the equation E equals mc squared, and also later the development of atomic power and the atomic bomb. E equals mc squared is, I'm going to go over kind of a general definition of what it is. Energy of body, E, is equal to the mass m of that body times the speed of light, c squared. This has suggested that tiny particles of matter could be converted into huge amounts of energy. The next is going to be the theory of relativity, which is one of the biggest things he's known for. It consists of two principal parts. One, the speed of light is the constant for all observers. Second, that observers moving at a constant speed should be subject to the same physical laws. This next one's going to be more towards like atomic bombs, nuclear type things. After the bombing of Hiroshima, Einstein decided to become a major player in the efforts to curtail the atomic bomb. He joined the Emergency Committee of Atomic Scientists in 1947 via an essay, The Atlantic Monthly. He worked with the United Nations to use nuclear weapons as a deterrent. This is Albert Einstein's death and his later years. Albert Einstein died at the University Medical Center in Princeton in the morning of April 18th, 1955 at 76 years old. The day before, while working on a speech to honor Israel's 7th anniversary, he suffered an abdominal aortic aneurysm. He was taken to the hospital for treatment but refused surgery, believing that he lived his life and was content to accept his fate. Albert Einstein has carried on a legacy through today and all time with his inventions and discoveries. Many books have been written about him and relative to things he talked about. Albert Einstein was very important to what we know today, and some things may have not been the same without him. Alright, next session is going to be about Max Planck. This is going to start just basic facts and introduction about him. Theoretical physicist who originated the quantum theory. He won a Nobel Prize in 1918 in physics. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity and Max Planck's quantum theory together constitute the theories of the 20th century physics. His full name is Max Carl Ernst Ludwig Planck. Born on 23rd of April, 1858 in Kiel, I'm not sure how to say this, it's a Dutch community. It has a really complicated name, but if you look in the PowerPoint, you can see it's on there. Max Planck, early life and family. He is the son of Julius Wilhelm and Emma Planck. Max Planck was the sixth child of a jurist and professor of law at the University of Kiel. When Planck was 9 years old, his father obtained an appointment at the University of Munich, and Planck entered the city's Maximilian Gymnasium, where the teacher Hermann Miller piqued his interest in physics and mathematics. Planck faced a tragic period in his life. During Nazi government Germany, Planck felt it was his duty to remain in his country, but was against some of the government's policies in regard to the persecution of Jews. In the last weeks of the war, he suffered greatly after his home was destroyed by bombing. His brothers and sisters, he had quite a few of them. He had 6 total, so he had a lot of brothers and sisters. Emma Planck, Erwin Planck, Gret Planck, Hermann Planck, and Karl Planck. So he had quite a few over time. The next page is going to be about Max Planck's education. Max Planck submitted his thesis at the University of Munich in the 1880 and was appointed as lecturer of physics at the university. In 1885, the University of Kiel appointed him as an associate professor. Following after that, in 1889, after the deaths of Gustav Kirchhoff, a position was opened at the University of Berlin, and Max Planck was requested to fill this position. In 1892, Planck was appointed as a professor there and continued to work in Berlin until the end of his career. After being appointed as a professor at the University of Berlin, Planck wanted to bring all the physical societies present in Germany under one roof, and it was because of that Max, the physical societies of Germany, came into in the year 1898. Max Planck retired from the University of Berlin in 1928, and in later years was unhappy because of the rise of the Nazis under Adolf Hitler. He was completely at odds with the Nazis' philosophy. He decided to stay back in Germany and asked other scientists to do the same. Next page is going to be about Max Planck's discoveries and inventions. Most known for his quantum theory, the theoretical basis of modern physics that explains the nature and behavior of matter and energy on the atomic and subatomic level. The nature and behavior of matter and energy at that level is sometimes referred to as quantum physics and quantum mechanics. Today we use a formula made and based on Max Planck's work, which is called Planck's constant. And those numbers are in the PowerPoint if you take a look at them. It'd be easier to see. This constant links the amount of energy a photon carries with the frequency of its electromagnetic wave. The next page is going to be about Max Planck's death, the later years. In 1944, Planck's son Erwin was arrested for the attempted assassination of Adolf Hitler in the 20th of July plot. Erwin died at the hands of the Gestapo. Him dying destroyed much of Max Planck's will to live. After the end of the war, Planck, his second wife, and his son by her were brought to a relative in Göttingen, where Planck died on the 4th of October, 1947. His grave is in the Old City Cemetery in Göttingen. And that's it. Thank you all for viewing. If you have any questions or comments, just email me or I'll have it submitted to you. Thank you.